Steve, anything strike you about these, where we are in the, is the tide turning, as you might say, in fiscal policy?
Well, I mean, the real issue, and this goes back to our earlier discussion, is the role that inflation plays in driving interest rates. I mean, when I've said this several times now, but I'll say it again. I mean, when you have $30 trillion in publicly, or the national debt, every time you get a 1 percentage point increase in the interest rate, that's $300 billion. And what we've seen is the interest rates going from, the short-term interest rates were below 1% a year ago, 2 years ago, and now they're in the range of 4 or 5%. And that's just a huge cost to the federal government is interest rates. I mean, you mentioned earlier that they've gone up. Interest costs have gone up by over a third. That's as long as inflation remains on the table and interest rates remain high, that just gets baked in, and you've got to pay that interest cost. It's not. It's not like, we were fighting over discretionary spending and how much, we're going to be able to cut and whether we're going to be able to roll discretionary back to the 2022 levels. I can guarantee you the interest cost numbers are not
Right.
going back to the 2022 numbers. I mean, they're going to go up, and that's just a real problem that Congress is, has really no way to control.
Well, I look at what they can control, and what they just did was pass the Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2023. This was a debt ceiling deal, and CBO gave an estimate of what effect it would have on their baseline. And, it's pretty underwhelming. Over the 10-year period, CBO said that the debt to GDP ratio would come down from 118% or 119% that they were projecting to 115%, about a 3% change. So it's just important. I'm not saying they shouldn't have done this deal. They should have done the deal to get over the, to get past the debt crisis. But we have to be realistic, and they have to be realistic about what can be accomplished when you take Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and basically defense. Well, they didn't. I shouldn't say defense. That was on the table, but they took the major entitlement programs off the table, and they took revenues off the table. So they came up with a deal that does very, very little to change the long-term fiscal trajectory.